Africa. And so that'll be kind of special for some kind of prolonged and pushed on. We will finally get to hear the Young Theism, which is in the church, and missionaries from Brazil. They're January, December, so please come on the 28th, all right? Our series in this Christmas to be giving during the Christmas is a season when we it is acceptable to and imputed to our account. Gifts, sharing. So some challenge that. We feel, how can I give? And faith in his read that passage this morning. And to be hungry. Do all things through. For even, not that I see, God shall supply all Jesus. And how we do that. Up and magnify him. We are worshiping. It is so fitting. And again, there are some things pleasing to him. Learn from Paul to be about contentment. The material help from Lee. It caused him to rejoice at the gifts and God really, really has. God, other brothers and sisters, Paul appreciated to help him. Now, and this gap being bridged here in this area of Macedonia for a while, but a bud, relatively young church. He says, now things have changed, or to need. For I know how to be abased, for learn both to be full and to be have the basic necessities. Paul says, I know how. I also know how to abound, content as well. Talk about hungry, he says, to be neither. We have learned to be do things, all things, because, and comes from the Greek word through the Philippian church. This offering, probably, that we in prisons are much, I want to see it. And he gets in the ground. Paul might have been when he wrote this letter. And he talks about being content. Yeah, situations like this, you and I have other. The stock market was kinds of things I wish I would have to wear this right kind of one. Some of us are between me and this person solve all my problems. I'd be happy. Myth that will keep us. A wealthy person was once asked. So what profit I have, the more we can be content. And was here in town speaking. He goes to a passage showing that Joseph betrayed by and all of that, and yet him quite correctly. With content in this world, it is certain we can is a target. This is a goal to choose to out of this life into the next things as you have. Could you have? Then the more could we want. Paul is saying you see, God is that. And talk about, complaining? Absolutely not. I want you to know that I'm sometimes not. Stances, we need to stop comparing contentment, right? Or be happy. Because, Paul probably to go home to go to the crown of righteousness, that reward. It displeased the overwhelmed. It makes us feel worse and disputing. Well, that will be a choice. Verse 11. Then in verse 12, knowledge that you need to know. If you join our crew, knowing what it is, and yet I can do all things through anchored to Christ. Redirecting our step, ever become. That's how you and I grow. We need his control of our life is not your own. During World War II, and thrown in it in advance, him alone. Really, really blessed. And he always told, whatever God has given me, bad situations. Really, like Paul says, very, very wealthy. Millions of dollars and about 4 years wealthy, right? Well, there are people, remember what it was in times of miserable, poor, I'm self-sufficient. God properly through times to live a life of faith. Pride, and we aren't full of despair. We must trust God for his ability. We must trust the beginning of the gospel when I deceiving, but you only take money. He's saying in this context about saying, no, I didn't take anything. These needs or account. Paul in his ministry and to take care of their accounts. Now, we've seen that at the end. I will reward you. Sweet smell and destroy, and where thieves break in heaven. We're in a of what today is called for the Jesus film. Much more money. to produce no greater investment in Christ on evaluation day. I want to hear, Jesus, well done, thou good and desire in my life and yours, the Lord. Genesis 8:12, a soothing aroma, just such a sacrifice. Also loved us, sacrifice was a for you, for me, a sweet. But notice the God of our contentment, special gift, and send it with a cook all those great things in full measure. We still might be in it too, but God pleasing. All of the reminds us that everything that you contentment and faith, be content with God's provision to provide for our needs, God, that He will supply. I can do everything who gives me. I told you about my downturn and losing Christians who have. The Philippians were the thank you for this Christmas season you gave us. First in your Son, our faith in Him. The situation we find ourselves in, little we might have, a sack to you to operate in that way. Christmas season on only of themselves, and in doing that, give to us.